We all know the story of the Taj Mahal, right? That incredible monument to eternal love. But what if I told you the story we all know is only half the picture? That to really get it, you have to look right across the river. Because over there's a forgotten garden, a place holding a secret that completely changes how we see this wonder of the world. So let's dig in and uncover the truth behind the legend.
So get this, for centuries there's been this whisper, this legend, of a second Taj Mahal, a perfect twin, but made of black marble. This was supposedly going to be the final resting place for the emperor himself. I mean, talk about one of history's most tantalizing mysteries, right? Well, today, we're going to unravel it.
Okay, so where did this whole idea even come from? It actually starts with this guy, a 17th century French gem merchant named Jean-Baptiste Tavernier. During a visit to Agra, he wrote down what he'd heard about Shah Jahan's grand, but unfinished plan. And believe it or not, that one single account is what kicked off a legend that would last for over 350 years.
And you can totally see why the idea stuck, right? It's just so perfect. Just picture it, a gleaming white tomb for the empress and this solemn black one for the emperor, linked forever across the water by a bridge. It's the perfect eternal symmetry of love and loss. It's no wonder that story captured the imagination of poets, historians, and travelers for generations.
Yeah, this myth was incredibly powerful. The story went that Shah Jahan was actually imprisoned by his own son, Aurangzeb, before he could finish his final tribute. A tragic, unfinished dream. But is that what really happened? To find the truth, we've got to leave the legend behind and move into the world of archaeology.
So the spot where this black Taj was supposed to be built, it's a real place. It's called Mehtab Bagh, and that name literally translates to the Moonlight Garden. And as we're about to see, its true story is every bit as compelling as the myth.
And here's what's so fascinating. The garden's history starts way before the Black Taj myth ever did. It was originally founded by Emperor Babur way back in the 1530s, but it was his great-grandson Shah Jahan who saw its true potential. He didn't see a tomb site, he saw the ultimate viewing platform for his masterpiece, a pleasure garden designed specifically to perfectly frame the Taj Mahal, especially under the moonlight.
Now, to really get Mehtab Bagh, you have to understand the concept of a Charbagh. This wasn't just landscaping, it was a deeply symbolic design. The four-part layout represents the four gardens of paradise, with water channels symbolizing rivers of milk, honey, wine, and water. So the crucial point here is, this was a space designed for spiritual contemplation and beauty, a heaven on earth, not for a burial.
And you can see how intentional the design was in its perfect alignment. The width of this garden is identical to the width of the Taj Mahal complex. Now that was no coincidence. It was a masterclass in architectural harmony. For the Mughals, this symmetry represented divine order, and the entire garden was designed to be a mirror, a perfect earthly reflection of the main tomb.
But, even with all this historical evidence, that Black Taj myth was just too strong to die. So, in the 1990s, the Archaeological Survey of India decided to settle the question once and for all. They started excavating the site, which, by then, was little more than a forgotten mound of sand.
I mean, just look at this transformation. For centuries, the garden's true form was buried under silt and sand from reoccurring floods. As archaeologists began to dig, the true layout, hidden for 300 years, slowly began to reappear. But what were they going to find at its heart?
They found exactly 0 foundations of a Black Taj Mahal. Not a single trace. The centuries-old myth was finally put to rest by hard, physical evidence, or I guess the complete lack of it.
So if there was no tomb, what was there? Well, they found everything you'd expect in a grand Mughal pleasure garden. A huge octagonal pool, dozens of fountains, airy pavilions, walkways, the whole shebang. And the so-called black marble that had fueled all that speculation, it turned out to be just white marble that had been discolored and blackened by centuries of moss and pollution. The evidence was clear. This was always a garden.
So why did this magnificent garden just disappear? We actually have a first-hand account. This letter from Shah Jahan's son Aurangzeb describes the catastrophic floods of 1652 that completely swamped the garden. This was the beginning of the end for Mehtab Bagh.
Yeah, after the floods and with the decline of the Mughal Empire, the garden just fell into ruin. Locals took building materials, the river kept depositing silt, and eventually the Moonlight Garden was almost entirely erased from memory, just waiting to be rediscovered.
But that is not where the story ends.
Not by a long shot. The garden's rediscovery led to this monumental restoration effort, and let me tell you, it was a painstaking process. First, archaeologists had to excavate a staggering 90,000 cubic meters of earth. That's enough to fill 36 Olympic swimming pools. They used historical plans as their blueprint to meticulously rebuild everything. And then, this is my favorite part, they replanted the garden with 81 varieties of plants the Mughals themselves would have used, truly bringing the space back to its original glory.
And the result is breathtaking. Mehtab Bagh shouldn't be seen as the site of a failed dream, but as the successful completion of Shah Jahan's grand design. It's the final, essential piece of the Taj Mahal experience, offering a perspective the emperor himself designed for us to enjoy.
So, why should you visit? Well, it offers a totally different experience. While the Taj complex itself is bustling and intense, Mehtab Bagh is calm and serene. It offers that perfectly symmetrical, crowd-free view you see in postcards. And for all you photographers out there, here's a crucial tip. Tripods are welcome here, unlike at the Taj itself.
All right, here's the practical stuff you need to know. The garden is open from sunrise to sunset, and the entry fee is quite reasonable. My advice? You've got to go at sunrise or sunset for the most magical light. And remember, the main Taj Mahal complex is closed on Fridays, but Mehtab Bagh stays open, making it the perfect alternative. And this is the view that awaits you. That restored octagonal pool, reflecting the image of the Taj Mahal, just as Shah Jahan intended nearly 4 centuries ago. You see, it's not a black tomb, it's a liquid mirror, creating the perfect twin he always wanted.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. The legend of the Black Taj is romantic, and it's tragic. It's a great story. But the true story of Mehtab Bagh, a garden designed for reflection, lost to time, and then meticulously brought back to life, isn't that, in its own way, just as powerful? What do you think?